I know you miss me, so I'm going to give you 5 things that college basketball needs to do. Now, there's a number of things that college basketball needs to do, but the truth of the matter is these 5 things would help college basketball along. And they're not all what college basketball needs to do. I'm going to celebrate a coach here. But let's be honest, and I'm saying this strictly as a fan, hard to watch. Like, what's really interesting? Prayers to Dick Vitale. Some good games early. Hopefully there'll be good games late. But right now, damn. Every time I go to Twitter after a college basketball game, no college basketball fans are bitching about any announcements. I mean, I used to trend on Twitter when I was a guy. But anyway, I know you miss me, but here I am. All right, couple of things. The NBA has a rule where, like, under 2 minutes, you call timeout, you move the ball to half court, maybe it's under a minute. So let's just say you guys make a bucket, puts you up 3. I call timeout. The ball doesn't get taken out of bounds underneath the basket. The ball gets taken out at half court. I love this rule. I love this rule. It makes for more offense. It makes for better opportunity to go get a bucket late. Yeah, every once in a while, a guy hits a 3-quarter court shot and it's exciting. But far more often, taking the ball out at half court makes the game far more interesting, makes the game far more strategic, makes game winners far, 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 far more frequent. I think it's great. And if I think it's great, then it should be enacted. Again, I want to explain it. College basketball, you make a layup under a minute, clock stops. You got to you take the ball out under the bucket that was just scored on. You got to go the length of the court. NBA basketball, you make a layup. I make a layup. You call timeout. You don't take the ball out at the end of the court. You take it at half court. You've cut off half of the court. Now everything is looking towards the basket, and you cut off about 4 seconds. I think it's the best rule in basketball. I think it's a rule that there's no question about it. The NCAA should put in. Here's what they do in NCAA basketball. They put in rules like in preseason tournaments, like the NIT, Hawaii, Bahamas, whatever, as kind of trial runs. That one needs to be in there as a trial run. As I watch college basketball as a fan for the first time in a long time, that rule needs to be in there, and that rule needs to be in there immediately. Here's what you do. You eliminate anybody's thoughts but mine. Okay? That's it. I am a committee of 1, and I guarantee you this would help. Speaking of help, back in the day, Scott Drew took over a Baylor and this is hard to say, a Baylor program that was rocked by murder. Now think about that. Just think about that for a second. He gets there halfway through a year and can't start until the following year. Probation, limited scholarships. I'm not going to get into all the boring minutia of what it was. But the truth of the matter is Scott Drew took over the biggest rebuild in the history of NCAA basketball. I've always said a couple of the best coaching jobs that I ever saw in basketball, John Beilein was one. When I went to West Virginia as the head coach for 8 days, they were cheating their brains out. They were cheating their brains out, and they had a president that smacked his desk, told my wife and I when I exposed it to him that he was going to destroy us. John Beilein, after 10 days of cleaning it up, West Virginia cleaned it all up, blamed it on a kid's dead brother, that kind of thing. But John Beilein took that program over, and really in a matter of 3 years, I think he was up 24 at halftime, to go to the NCAA Final Four. Now, they didn't end up winning that game. Louisville made an unbelievable comeback. All right? However, the fact that John got him there was amazing to me based on what was there. Scott Drew took over a team in 2003 that, and I mean this literally, had no shot at success. Dave Bliss, the previous coach, had blamed a murder on a kid being a drug dealer, murder on his own team, an assistant wiretapped. It was legitimately the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm going to go through this. He took the job in August. He took a job where every player had transferred, placed itself on probation, Baylor did, until 2005, withdrew from postseason play. He went 8-21 his first year. They extended their self-imposed probation until 2006, docked itself several scholarships and paid recruiting visits through 2006. Further sanctions, listen to this, extended their probation until 2010. Think about that. So Drew gets his brains beat out. Finally, in 07-08, he comes out of it. And next thing you know, they win a national championship. Next thing you know, they lose a lot of players to the NBA. Next thing you know, with a decimated roster rebuilt by transfers and guys rising up, Scott Drew has Baylor number 1 in the country. I mean, did you hear what I just said? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Now, it hasn't all been easy. The men's and women's program in April of 2012 got 3 years probation, scholarship reduction. One of Drew's assistant influenced 2 AAU coaches, false and misleading information. I mean, it's been a bit of a train. And as a guy that basically lost his career for not cheating, I got to tell you, it's hard for me, although I do really like Scott Drew and the Drew family, you know, it's hard for me to say, well, greatest guy ever. But I'll tell you this, one of the greatest, if not the greatest coaching jobs ever is not only winning a national championship, but being number 1 in the country the next year. The second greatest coaching job that I saw besides John Beilein's was Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens went to not 1, but 2 NCAA championship games at Butler. And he went to the second one after losing a lottery pick in Gordon Hayward. People forget that. Gordon Hayward was gone. He had Matt Howard and Shelvin Mack. Shelvin Mack, a great player, went in the draft. Matt Howard, a great winner, not an NBA player, long career overseas. They're great players. That's the second most amazing job, or maybe it should be first. But I'm telling you right now, what Scott Drew has done is unfreaking believable. All right, college basketball should also, and John Calipari and I have talked about this, and I don't know how you all feel about this, but college basketball should have an in-season in August. It's ridiculous they don't. I say this all the time, and I'm going to keep harping on this. It's asinine that they don't if you really break it down. Why? Well, think about every other sport. They have 2 seasons. College football has spring football and obviously the regular season. Softball has a fall season and obviously the spring season that everybody loves watching, the NCAA women's tournament. Volleyball, 2 seasons. By the way, if you want to check out something great, NCAA volleyball, fantastic. My niece, Emily Eman, is the number 1 correspondent for it. I love it. But they have 2 seasons. They have a season in the fall. They have a season in the spring. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let me continue. Baseball, 2 seasons. You get my point? My point is the only sport that doesn't have 2 seasons is men's college basketball. And I got to tell you, men's college basketball is going to hell in a handbasket. Men's college basketball is losing interest left and right. Men's college basketball, frankly, isn't providing much interest, a lot like this show. You need a season. You need an in-season college basketball. You need to quit screwing around. I mean, honest to God, do this. 2 weeks in August. After the NFL, or excuse me, when the NFL is just in camp, before the NFL season, tournaments all over the place. Big tournament in Lexington, big tournament in Indy, big tournament in Chapel Hill, big tournament in Florida, big tournament at UCLA. ESPN's looking for broadcasting then. Honest to God, they're looking for it. I don't know how this is not done. I honestly don't. I don't get it. I think they should have a tournament. I think they should quit screwing around. And I think it's almost an automatic. It really is. Quit jackassing around. Get yourself in a tournament. All right. Lauren O'Connor is one of our producers extraordinaire. She is a Seton Hall fan. When she goes to Seton Hall games, we get to see the ticket where she's sitting. And I like it because she always has good seats. Of course she should. I mean, look, big-time TV producer. How wouldn't you have great seats? Seton Hall is her team. Seton Hall is her school. Seton Hall, and I don't necessarily understand this, but I guess we're supposed to say good for the NCAA, or good for, I guess, the Big East, for, I guess, I don't know, enforcing forfeits. So Seton Hall just got a win. Seton Hall just got a forfeited win against DePaul after forfeiting a game to St. John's. This is very odd to me. This is very, very odd. Maybe I have this wrong, but Seton Hall hasn't played a game since beating Rutgers and isn't supposed to return until playing Providence. Okay? They had all kind of problems. They forfeited their game against St. John's, and then DePaul just forfeited the game against Seton Hall because of problems within DePaul. This is crazy to me. I like it. Like, if you are going to set standards, then you set the standards and you keep the standards, right? I mean, the NFL got all big and pounded their chest saying, if we're not making up games, we're not going to pay you if you cause us to forfeit or postpone games. Well, guess what? Money talks, bullshit walks, and you and I both know what happened here. And what happened here was very simple. They gave in. They didn't cancel games. They didn't forfeit games. They didn't take players' pay like they said they would. They moved the games, and I'm glad they did. I don't like it, unless, of course, I would be the recipient of forfeited games. I don't really like the idea of forfeited games. But the Big East, along with other college conferences, said that's what we're going to do. So Thursday's men's basketball game between number 15, Seton Hall, and DePaul has been canceled due to COVID issues within the Blue Demons program. It was announced on Monday. Here's what it says. According to the policy of the Big East, DePaul forfeits and is assigned a loss in the league standings. Seton Hall gets credited for a win. Seton Hall had their previous 2 scheduled games called off. That included a game at Madison Square Garden with Rick Pitino, and then, of course, the forfeited game that they forfeited with St. John's. Man, did you ever really think we were going to be in this position this year right now? Seriously, did you ever really think that? I didn't. I didn't think we would ever be in this position. I honestly didn't. I thought, no way in hell are we going to be 2 years later in this same lame-ass position. I didn't think so. But here we are. God bless America. Boom. So Lauren O'Connor gets a win and gets a loss and doesn't have to spend any money or hit anybody up for tickets. So I guess it's all a good thing. Just play. This is a true story. I got a lot of true stories. When Dan Munson was a head coach at Gonzaga, they were really good. And this would have been about 2000. We were really good at Bowling Green. So he calls me up. He goes, hey, let's play a home and home in the same year, meaning I go to Gonzaga and he comes to Bowling Green same year because we were both having trouble scheduling games. He said the caveat is let's not play the games. Let's just say you won at your place and I won at my place, and we send out a press release. I thought it was genius. I did. I thought it was absolute genius. We didn't do it. The schedule, it would have been caught. We would have been fired and everything else. But I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of funny. Last thing on this little 5 things with college hoops. College hoops getting hurt by something. It's getting hurt. Is there anybody in college hoops that you just absolutely have to go watch? I'll wait. Is there anybody? Like anybody? Ever? Anywhere? There's no superstar in college hoops. I remember when you all got mad a few years ago when ESPN put in these green room guys, and they highlighted guys that were going to be invited to the NBA draft as, quote, green room guys. All right. Well, guess what? There are no green room guys this year. There's no interesting stories. Like, remember Trae Young? Everybody got tired of Trae Young a few years back. I'm tired of seeing Trae Young. I don't want to see. Everybody got tired of Duke. Zion Williamson. Well, you know what? Everybody didn't get tired. People enjoyed and still enjoy stars. It's what they do. So guess what? We don't have any this year. Name me 5 college basketball players that you got to turn your TV on and watch. Man, I got to watch Kofi Cockburn. I can't. If you're an Indiana fan, you want to watch Trace Jackson Davis. I guess Johnny Juzang. I don't know. See, I think stars will emerge, but as we sit here right now, without me on your television, you got no one to bitch at in college basketball. Without ESPN's constant hype of a player, whether it's Zion Williamson or Duke's team or Trae Young, we're learning that nobody's really that interesting right now. Teams are. Get old, stay old, that kind of thing. We all get that. But the truth of the matter is we like stars. And right now in college hoops, name me a star. Email me a star. Text me a star. Tweet me a star. Any way you want to do it, give it to me, and I'll ask you a simple question. Do you really make time to watch that guy? If the answer is yes, then it's yes. But I just don't see it so far. I'm sorry. I just don't. I know I'm supposed to, but I just don't see it. And you know what? If I don't see it, I guarantee the fans don't see it.